to the locker room. Topics on tonight's show: Neymar's injury and what it means for PSG's upcoming clash with Real Madrid. We'll talk about the bromance between Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema, and Wenger out. We'll discuss that too. We welcome our panel in Christian Vieri, Ray Hudson, Thomas Rongan and Gary Bailey. Now, Neymar was stretchered off in Sunday's 3-0 win over Marseille. And the fear for PSG now is that he'll miss next Tuesday's Champions League return leg clash with Real Madrid. Now, there's been no official word on the amount of time he will be sidelined, but if he does miss the Madrid game, can PSG still win without him?
A little bit of an update as well, Kate. There's word coming out now from France that it is actually a hairline fracture.
Oh, wow.
So that is the latest what we've been told. Whether or not that's confirmed, it's a break. It's a break in his ankle, but it's very, very small. Hey, listen, this is catastrophe for me, an absolute catastrophe.
World Cup?
Well, it depends on how he heals, you know. Marcelo's the same, it may be, but it's going to take a while. But who knows, you know? We have to wait and see what the medical people say. But for me, it was a cataclysmic disaster after playing so well against this team, Olympique Marseille, dominated the game, took them to the cleaners. Neymar was electric. They get ahead 3-0, 15 minutes to go. With the games coming up, and I don't care what anybody says, if I'm protecting my star players, I would have taken them off, Thomas. I know it's easy to be saying that in hindsight because it wasn't he rolled his ankle. It can happen to anybody at any time. But that game was a chippy game.
But Messi doesn't get taken off, does he?
I don't care.
Ronaldo?
I don't care.
Why would a manager just specifically pick?
Because there's nobody in that PSG team that can hold a light to his electricity, in my opinion. He is everything to PSG.
Though,
of course it is, Gary. But I mean,
blame the manager for him going over on his ankle.
I'm not blaming him. I'm saying if that was me, I'm taking all precautions to safeguard my most valuable, my most expensive treasure. That they've got 3 games coming up as well. It's not as if it's just one game. There's the cup game, and then they've got a league game, and then they've got the big showdown with Real Madrid. 15 minutes to go, 3-0 up, Thomas. A game where there was 8 yellow cards.
Go on, what do you say?
Right.
Pull them out.
Would you as a manager take blame for that?
It's a real tough one. And Ray, to a certain extent, is right. Saying that, and I said that, I think, yesterday or the day before, he's played less minutes than Messi, Ronaldo, all the 3 or 4 big grades because of injuries, because of red cards, and because going to Brazil and being sick at times.
But that injury he could have done in the 10th minute.
And that's what I mean.
Exactly.
I would not have subbed him. You got another big game coming up, another game.
Thomas, you're not saying that Neymar needs extra minutes to play.
No, but I mean, if he's a $200 million player, your key guy who's like Messi, you play him as often as you can. Actually, he's going to determine if he's going to play yes or no.
Maybe he wants to play. Maybe he says, don't take me off.
Saying that, guys, PSG was in the exact same position last year without Neymar in terms of where they were in the standings and where they were in the round of 16. So you know what? It's not because of Neymar that turned this thing around. If they get past Real Madrid, they might. They added Mbappe, by the way. They got Di Maria on the bench and Draxler. Yes, they're not Neymar, but you know what? I think that with Di Maria and Neymar, this team still could be okay without Neymar.
They beat Barca 4-0 last year without Neymar.
Okay, last year was last year. No one remembers that.
That's what?
I agree with Mr. Ray. 15 minutes, 20 minutes to just take him out. Take 3 substitutes. Get him out of there.
3-0.
Get him out of there.
It was a contentious game, man.
But Rock, the first change was Motta. Motta needed to get minutes. He'd take Diarra out. He needed to get minutes for the second sub was Draxler and Di Maria, because those are potentially guys that could start as well. So I can see after the third sub when the injury happens that he really made the right decisions.
Do you think world-class players like Motta and Neymar are actually going to benefit by a few minutes of play in the field
coming back from an injury.
When it's
Motta's
3-0, there's 15 minutes.
But Messi as well. But you don't see them taking
Messi.
Messi.
And he'll play 40 the next one and 80 the next one, and he's ready maybe for the Madrid game.
Messi's not going to come off. Ronaldo's not going to come off. You can't worry. You don't know as a manager when someone's going to go over on their ankle.
Of course. So then take that risk away.
But then, okay, let's take this a step further. So let's say they get get through to quarterfinals. You take him off the game before the quarters at home and away, the game before the semis, home and away, the game before the final.
They protect him.
So you're resting him for every single...
big player, Gary. You're talking about the whole genius. We're talking about a footballing genius that alters everything, like Messi does, like Ronaldo does. You take those players...
But they don't, do they? They don't take Messi off. They don't.
Of course they do.
How many times has Messi been rested
It doesn't
before?
matter, but I'll tell you what, they haven't got games lined up the way PSG has.
Bobo. You've been in a position as a striker.
What do they do? Can they all right without him if they do have to go into this Madrid game?
Right, he's their best player.
He
They had the
changes
same
everything.
team last year, but with him, he gives something. He gives you... With him, you know that you can win the game.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Without him, it's a disaster. And if he's got something broken...
It's what they say, hairline
You say disaster. Cavani up front with Di Maria and Draxler and Rabiot and Verratti in midfield. I tell you what,
Gary,
but you know that...
I tell you what, they will beat Real Madrid without Neymar. Whether they beat them enough to go through, I'll guarantee you they beat Real
When you've
Madrid.
got Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar, you got an extra chance.
With Neymar or without Neymar, Madrid is going to go through anyway, in my opinion. So, yes,
Can you play your cards with Neymar?
You miss a beautiful player, without a doubt, that everybody wants to see.
A massive
It could make an
influence
impact.
that'll change the game in a wink of an eye. The good thing for all the PSG players, then the PSG fans listening in that are praying on their knees for this guy to make it back, is that the injury that he suffered against Getafe, remember when he rolled over? It looked even worse than this. But if this is a hairline fracture, that's going to take time to heal.
Yep. You're right.
We'll keep our eyes on that one and keep you updated here on beIN Sports. But we'll move on now to talk about Real Madrid, who beat Alaves 4-0 on Saturday. Yes, Zidane's men actually keeping a clean sheet is surprising, but not nearly as surprising as Cristiano Ronaldo giving up the chance to take a penalty, not least because he was on a hat-trick. Now, Ronaldo let Benzema take the 89th minute spot kick, but the story of the game between Ronaldo and Benzema actually goes back right to the beginning of the game, Gary.
You know what, as soon as that happened, that slip from Ben's, we're going to see it again now. I think we all in the studio went, oh no, this is another one of those days where it's all going to go horribly wrong. And yet when Ben sets up Ronaldo for this goal here, great, is it this? No, it's still coming up. Oh, he misses this one as well.
So
It got
this
even
one
worse.
it was flagged offside in the end, but we see that he wouldn't have put it away
Here's
had
the
it not
goal
been.
here. Here's the back heel. When he does this, Ronaldo scores a great goal. He turns to Benz and points. Keep an eye on it. There you go. That's it. And at that moment, I thought that was a brilliant touch from Ronaldo to say, my man's under pressure. He hasn't started well, but what a lovely assist for the goal.
Exactly.
Loved that.
It was a better touch than a reaction for me. It was a wonderful slingshot home, but the touch from Benzema. This is the player that Real Madrid, for me, needed to get fit. And not just fit in his physique, but in his head, in a footballer's, in a goal scorer's groove, right, like Vieira used to be. You need those players at the top. We've seen signs now that Benzema is coming back to that sharpness. You saw it all the way through this game after a bad start. And credit the Madridistas, they didn't turn on him after that terrible
Because
miss.
of Ronaldo, maybe.
They stayed, maybe.
Because Ronaldo pointed him out and said, there's my man. Yeah.
No, he was great.
And Bale was good as well.
It showed.
Lucas Vazquez was the man.
Lucas Vazquez, amazing.
Tremendous.
But seeing Ronaldo do that was a surprise for many because the one thing he generally doesn't do is let somebody else take his penalties. He had the captain's armband on in the absence of Sergio Ramos and the absence of Marcelo as well. It did show a maturity as well. Now, we know he is very good friends with Benzema and he should be for all the service Benzema's given him over the years.
He knows that he's having a hard time. Take the penalty. But the good thing is that when he scored, like you guys said, he was saying to the public, he gave me the ball. So then what does that mean? That means that don't whistle him. So he's saying to the public, don't whistle him. That's good.
He said the same thing before. He said both the manager, Zidane, and Ronaldo have said, just back off. He's going through a tough time. Everybody could see. It was real, Kate. He was going through a real bad time. And it wasn't just the goal-scoring drought that Benzema was going through. It was his overall game, the sharpness, the awareness. But it's back. There's big signs.
And him, not just him, Bale as well. In fact, the three up front, you start to look at them and you think the three up front all score.
Now you're just saying this.
No, well, it's the first time they've scored.
Because when they fit, they win.
To me,
And
two
it's a
home
clean
and away,
sheet.
always.
Three of the
clean
most
sheet.
important things is Bale played on the left side. One. And that's already thinking about Dani Alves playing for PSG because Marcelo probably is not going to play. So he needs somebody there. Bale was very good. Vazquez should start over Asensio, Isco, whomever else. And the double pivot in midfield with Kovacic and with Casemiro worked very well as well. And I don't know, you might know better than I do. Is Cruz going to be ready, yes or no?
They say it's early March, so yeah.
And Modric was a little question mark as well, I saw. And obviously Marcelo is out.
Can we give a little bouquet to one of my favourite players?
Yeah.
The goalkeeper, Gary. Keylor Navas again, man.
Really.
First clean sheet since December 9th, 2017.
That's important. That's important, Kay, because if they're going to go on and do something, Real Madrid, and they can turn the season around, they're going to have to keep clean sheets against Bayern Munich or Barca or Man City or whatever. So good to see them at the back playing like that. Navas is doing his job, but it's Sergio Ramos in that central defence for me that still needs to clean their act up for Real Madrid to be like the old Real Madrid.
Let's talk about the new Barcelona, because their Fab Four all started for the first time together at the weekend. Messi, Suarez, Coutinho and Dembele. Thomas, should the four be regular starters?
You see the future foursome, so to speak. Is it threesome? No, it's a foursome this time. Going forward, and that's brilliant. Dembele, yeah, easy. Don't talk to me. Dembele gives you several things. A, speed, but he gives you natural width on that right side. Very interesting. It then stretches a back four and allows Messi to be even more productive centrally because there's less numbers there. Coutinho starts out wide, but becomes Iniesta-like. What a great goal, by the way, when he cuts inside as well. Those four are fun to watch. Interesting part is Valverde really happy with those four guys, or did he say, I still want to build in some security in midfield?
Is he too conservative a coach to play the four of them together in a big game?
He can play at home with these little teams, 4 up front, 6 up front, 25 up front. You play against a big team, he's going to go with Messi, Suarez. 4-4-2. Maybe one or Coutinho, Dembele can play, but 4-4, impossible.
Because you get Busquets, Rakitic for sure, and probably Paulinho, I would think, in big games.
Yeah, in the big games
who's going to run?
For sure.
Who's going to run with the big? Who's going to be running without the ball in the big games? 4-4 play up front.
Yeah, maybe you'll see Dembele as an impact player off the bench. If they're struggling to break through, they'll use him to score.
What's he asking these stories? You got the personal red phone to write directly to Messi, you and him. Your best friend. He gets text messages from Lionel Messi asking, are you eating pizza tonight? Unbelievable.
Is there a phone on there?
That's the charger as well.
Which is,
like
by the way, our friends might go crazy. It's true.
It is.
It's absolutely true.
They're like that.
Messi responds in 2 minutes.
Anyway, still to come. Is Wenger's time up? And maybe Mourinho's matches aren't so miserable after all.
Yeah,
Top goals team. Stick around. Welcome back to the locker room. A snow go at the Allianz Stadium, and why playing the ball out from the back is one of football's riskiest tactics. 2 reasons that have left us screaming, what were you thinking? Gary Bailey, take us away.
Oh, this is my pet hate. I was saying to you last week, goalkeepers are not outfield players. Sergio Rico gives it to Ever Banega. He's got 3 red and white shirts closing in on him. He gives him a bad ball, and he doesn't tell him to be careful and not turn. What's the advantage playing out from the back?
You know what you do there? You know what you do there? You give it back to the goalkeeper.
That's right.
You give it back.
It's not the goalkeeper's fault.
No, it is the keeper's fault. Don't give it to him.
You're the back. You have the back towards there. You give it back to him.
He hadn't even been able to turn. And we'll have a look at it again. Ever Banega. He's got his back to the red and white shirts now, right? He's looking. Is a quick glance. He's trying to turn. They're coming from every angle. But why take the risk?
Because it's Spanish football and it's bloody beautiful.
Well, you're going to see goals time and time again.
This is Italian football. Match postponed between Juventus and Atalanta because of snow in Italy. Would you have seen that in any of your days when you were playing? A match postponed due to snow.
I played in Russia. It was -16. It was raining,
I'm sure these guys
and windy all together.
Yeah, you know what we do in this situation? We just paint the lines orange. You have an orange ball.
At Newcastle, they used to play in this.
The old days. This is actually, I think it's a Porto Peñarol match. Intercontinental. Right, listen to this. You'd be clearing up the snow and you'd still carry on playing it.
There you go.
Look
Nothing
at that.
wrong with that. Just a bit difficult to keep your balance, but all good.
Well, please give me an orange ball though the next time.
Yeah, and orange lines. That's what we used to have. The orange
Peñarol,
lines.
man.
Meanwhile, Napoli have taken an even bigger lead over Juventus today with their win.
Who
and
does?
obviously,
Who again, kid? I can't hear you. Who? Napoli.
Okay, let's head to England now because Pep Guardiola won his first piece of silverware as Man City coach at the weekend when he led his side to a League Cup win over Arsenal. And while everyone is lauding Pep for his 22nd title as a manager, it's the opposition manager that everybody's talking about again. Wenger out. Yes or no, Thomas?
God, it's a tough one. I mean, this guy single-handedly transformed this club, you know, from the start that he's been there. I would love for him to walk away and say, let me become football director, let me take Terry Henry, make him the head coach.
Is it a yes or a
Yes or a no? Wenger out. Yes or no?
No, stay.
Anybody agree with Thomas?
No, not at all.
How can we?
For me, Wenger's got to go.
It's time for the change. This
I mean,
man is an institution, like Thomas says.
but-
He's a true legend of a manager. He's the greatest coach that Arsenal manager that Arsenal Football Club have ever had, and that's going back to the halcyon days back in the 1920s, which Phil Shane will always bring us up on in the history. But he's been brilliant. He has been beyond brilliant.
He has
been magnificent.
It's past tense, though, isn't
has
it?
been,
Yeah.
and it's time for them to move on.
Bobo, talk to me.
Last time
Certainly.
they won the league was 2006.
No.
They're not even going to make European Champions
Beautiful
League now.
guy.
So it's got to go. He's got to go, yeah?
Gotta change.
Hey,
There you go.
Hey,
3
Ancelotti.
against
Hey,
one.
no,
I've got to go.
No.
All right.
Hey, be careful what
Time
you
to
wish
say.
for, by the way, Man United, the last 8
What are you
years.
bringing Man United into?
Well, we're
Louis
actually
van
going to bring
Gaal.
Man United into it because Gary's going to be able to get on his high horse now. It's
there
time
we
for
go.
I Told You So.
Beautiful
And this
game of
week, after
football.
United's 2-1 win over Chelsea, Gary is going to get his chance to go out.
Yes.
Go on, Gaza.
I told you so. Decent team. Second half, look, first half we weren't great against Chelsea, but second half really good. Lukaku came into his own. Pogba wasn't too bad. And you know what? It's a 2-1 win. You're in second position in the league.
What game
second
did you see?
ahead of Liverpool, ahead of Spurs, and Sevilla to come at home. And we've got a draw, so we can get through to the quarterfinals of the European Cup. I think it looks pretty good. How can you pick on Mourinho and say he's not a good manager or not doing well?
I'd like to say, I'd give you an argument, Gary, but after the first half, I turned it off. They were so bad. So I didn't even see the second
Well, you
half.
missed a good second half. They were really good.
Okay.
And Newcastle are where in the league and where in Europe and
Who
just
beat Man United?
Oh, no,
That's
one
all
off.
we've got,
Yeah,
guys.
There you go. Thanks for coming.
Sticking with it.
But, so, happy with the performance?
happier with the performance, but I'd like to see a nice 3-4-0 win at home to Sevilla, and it'll shut them all up once and for all.
Sanchez, Gary?
Well,
Electric
the way they-
Sanchez?
the way they played
Playing
last
too
week.
deep. Yeah, he should.
Whose fault's that?
I can't see Martial and Sanchez up front. I see just
Sanchez
one,
is
not
still there?
Martial.
In their
Still
city?
is. They're looking for him with a searchlight.
Defending in
So
midfield.
they had 2 fire engines out looking for him.
I might tell you, though, that Atleti, who we always call conservative, who usually are winning games by 1-0, went to Sevilla and won 5-2 at the
no, he did-
weekend.
who?
Atleti.
Atleti.
They didn't win anything.
Unbelievable.
Sevilla won that game. They won, but they lost. Like they said, he's 3-0. Let's start from. They wanted to start from 3-0.
They went from 9 goals against to 11. 20% of the goals against
It
in
was
one
coming.
game.
It was coming. I'd stay away. But, I mean,
5-2.
hey, Griezmann, magnificent. Costa.
Who?
Costa,
the goals they
Griezmann,
conceded.
Fabulous.
See the defense?
Give them gifts.
Correct.
Back
Oh, then, yeah,
passes
and it came
and-
after. They
yeah.
had the 5 goals, and then they came
Rico.
after that. Jan
Yeah.
Black has now let in a massive total of 11 goals this season. Brilliant stuff from him this term. Top goals when we come back on the locker room. Stick around. We've got some beauties. Welcome back to the locker room. We round out Monday's show with the madness and the magic we saw this weekend in terms of goal scoring. Here are our picks for top goals, and we'll begin with Christian Vieri, who's gone for Mariano Diaz.
I spent
at
the whole
Lyon.
weekend searching for a fantastic goal. Here it is.
Oh,
Look at that stop with the chest, little
Brilliant.
flick on the left foot, and
Bobo.
smashes it in there.
He
That's
actually-
amazing, amazing, man.
I saw some goals from you. That reminds me of you a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit better technique, this guy, but you're all right. You were all right, okay.
What a fantastic stop with the
Yeah,
chest.
Mariano Diaz has been
Bravo,
putting them
Mariano.
away all season for Lyon. Thomas Rongan's gone for Antoine Griezmann.
Oh, my God. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir, Antoine. What a great ball, eh? Outside of the 18-yard box, going far post. Look at his touch here to get away from defenders. Twice with the outside of his left foot, and then go with your right foot far post.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And we're staying in La Liga with you, Ray.
Do we need anything on this one?
No,
I mean,
no,
really,
no.
he makes it look easy, but he had a previous one, and the wall jumped, and he was close. So he goes downstairs. Messi, absolutely mesmerising.
Brilliant stuff. And you, Gary, Turkey.
Yeah, outside of the foot, the Trivela from Ricardo Quaresma at Besiktas. Have a look. This is very difficult to do because normally you pass with the outside. You don't shoot, but have a look now. Nice close-up outside of the foot.
Trivela, Gary?
Hey, Trivela, it's exactly that. And as a goalkeeper, you don't get time to set yourself. You don't expect the shot that quickly. What a good finish it is. Ricardo
Mine's going to be
Quaresma.
all of you. This is a coast-to-coast run. We didn't even start from the beginning of this goal. That shows you why it was so important. There you go. Now we do. This is Duvan Zapata for Sampdoria, racing off.
Is he playing against Newcastle United?
Keeps going. And then Matteo Bonetti said it was a cross.
No, he didn't.
It's not a cross.
He didn't, did he?
meant it.
Mario!
He
Mario!
did.
He
Andres
never
Cordero
meant
said he
it.
meant it.
No, he never meant that. Come on.
Fabulous.
We spoke to Duvan Zapata and he
what's he
told us
gonna
he meant
say?
it. Let's talk about Gennaro Gattuso just quickly before we round out the show.
Gennaro. I don't know.
Gennaro Gattuso. Gattuso. 12 unbeaten, Christian Vieri, and everything seems to be coming together. They won at the Olimpico in the league for the first time since 2011.
Because he called him the day he got the job and said, what?
You got to make them train, man. You got to kill him in training. You got to kill him from Tuesday to Saturday. He said, OK, Bob, I'm going to do that.
One of his players has come out and said he's doing what Montella didn't with us, making us train and work hard.
Hey,
There you go.
hey, you know what?
I want the US soccer team.
Hey, I want. You're gone. I'm telling you, that's unbelievable. Messi,
I like that
Ronaldo,
he's the guy to
Gattuso.
call.
I mean,
There's a little bit more than that, to be fair, though. I mean, but the basis
they're
of
good
it
to
is
watch right
they are
now.
fun. He's
You know
changed
why?
the mentality.
Because they're running at least the whole game, 90 minutes. Before, they weren't like that. They were losing against everyone.
what I like is the way.
Bonucci's playing better. The forward,
Ray,
everybody.
when physically
I know.
you're fit
Of
and you
course.
can play 90 minutes, if you've got good technique, it's going to come out. If you're not in good shape, you can't even stop the ball. If you eat the mozzarellas, you can't stop the ball.
Inter and Milan are making me smile
We're
again
not
like they
talking
did
about
20.
Inter right now.
No, Inter
are going
and
down.
Milan.
They just got to win. They just got to win.
Gattuso
Milan got
reminds
12
me a little bit of
unbeaten.
Ray Hudson. If you would see Ray Hudson at the end of games, win, lose, or draw, but mostly the team is there. There's emotion, there's passion, and that's what I see from this team right now.
100%.
Bobo, well done. You're going to be a great coach one of these days. I'm telling you.
Just got to keep off them Catalonis.
I'm telling you.
All you've got to do, if you're a new coach, maybe Arsene Wenger, give Christian Vieri a ring and he'll tell you what to do to get results. Thanks for joining us on The Locker Room. We'll see you on Friday.
Wenger,